It smells like adventure. Welcome into the Men's Adventure Fiction Podcast. We are here today to talk about something that may jog a few memories, make you think of some fond things. How are you doing this morning, first of all, brother?
Doing well. I've got one of my smells nearby. Oh yeah, sneak peek for later. And
all right. There we go.
You're right. You got to get the nostrils ready. The hippocampuses are going to be firing. This is going to be a good one. This is a topic that you brought to the table here, so I feel like it's only right that you start us off. But if you want to dive into what brought this idea to you in the first place, I think that'd be a good place to start.
Yeah, this one is a little weird. I remember I texted you about it and you're like, the what? What are you talking about? But
the sniffy sniffs?
The smells of adventure, dude. I think, as you all know, if you've ever lived a day of life, sometimes you're just walking around down the street, sitting in your home, you step out to let the dogs out, and all of a sudden you're just, a waft of a smell comes in and punches you right in the nose, and all of a sudden you're transported right back to a crazy adventure you've been on, a good time you've been on. It could be camping, it could be hiking, it could be, climbing up the side of a building to sneak in to steal something. Who knows? You never know what it could be. Yeah, just a regular old day. So we're going to go through, and we're both going to bring our top 5 smells of adventure today. And I guess I can start us off if I can find my list that I just texted you.
Boy, amateur hour over here. What are you doing? Get your list ready.
I'll start off. So I'm not going to do it there is an order, but there's no particular order. But there is a particular order. But there's one for sure that I think is the best and the ultimate men's adventure fiction smell. So I'll do that one last. But first, since it's the start of the podcast, the early morning of the podcast, so to speak, I'm going to rock and roll with the smell of bacon, butter, eggs, and steak cooking over an open fire when you're camping, dude. There's just not much better than that. I think I've talked about it before on the podcast. One of my favorite memories of all time is my wife and I are deep in the wilderness of Utah, about to go. We're probably like 3 hours out from Arches and an hour and a half out from Zion, and there's just on the side of this road this massive area, and it's all dispersed camping, so you can just go there, park your car, and stay there for literally as long as you want for free.
Right. That's cool.
It's so cool. So we're there. We wake up probably around 7ish, maybe a little earlier. The sun's creeping up, and I'm sitting there, and we have our camp stove going, and my wife's cooking up some bacon, and I'm sitting there with the dogs, and it's just like peak memory, So anytime I smell bacon, not just bacon cooking inside, that's a good one, but I had to take it outside, dude, because there's nothing quite like being out there. And you can smell the bacon, but you can also smell like those classic outside smells that you get when you're camping. So this is kind of a twofer,
Right.
So I love it.
That's what I was thinking.
Some bacon over the open fire.
The perfume of the whole situation is too much. It's too much goodness, because you got the woods around you. You got the smoke from the fire, which is on my list. It's actually going to be the first one I talk about. But like that camp smoke, and then you got the bacon smell, and kind of just like breakfast. And of course, it brings my mind to Louis L'Amour all the time.
Yeah,
thoughts
dude.
of like cowboy breakfast. I feel like in a lot of westerns, you're going to see the cowboy breakfast happening and going down. They're going to be over an open fire making that food. So that is a good one for sure.
Yeah. Another quick one to this same thing, but I remember we were hiking. It was the end of September into October, and it was just the fellas, dude. We were out there in the woods. A really cool camp spot in Pennsylvania. But the problem with it was it's like half a mile from where you park your cars to where you camp. Also still free dispersed camping, but you're lugging in coolers and you're lugging in all that stuff, and there's possible bears, so you got to lug it back out. But I remember the one day we went, long hike. We got back, saw cut up some onions, tossed those over a big cast iron. And this we didn't even have a camp stove. We literally just stuck that bad boy right on the open fire. That's what triggered it. Was when you said you got the smell of
Yeah,
the campfire smoke, dude. We had some fat steaks, slathered those boys in
that's beautiful.
pepper and salt. Just put them right there, dude. Superb. Because
Dude, cooking anything over an open fire is
yeah,
legend.
dude.
It
It's
just makes you feel so good.
it does. It's like you said. You really feel. There's times when you feel like a cowboy, but I don't know if there's any better time than when you're sitting there in the woods. It's dark out. You got that fire crackling. You got your boots up. You're wearing like whatever the camp equivalent of like leisure wear is, which is usually
Yeah.
like several layers of coats because it's still freaking cold out. Maybe you have your blanket pulled over you, dude, and like tied it around a
Long
little.
johns and blanket like you're Kevin Costner or
Yeah,
something.
dude. And then you just hear the sizzling of the butter and the steak together, dude. And it's beautiful.
That's
All right,
beautiful, dude.
sorry. So
It,
so your
it,
turn.
well, one last point on that is like the cooking outside. I can't remember exactly what we were cooking, but when you talk about peak memories, like it
Uh-huh.
was during pandemic time era where no one was out and everything was
Uh-huh.
shut down, and I lived on campus at a school that was shut down. You couldn't go to it, but I lived
Oh
there. So
man.
like this town was empty, and there was this like park with a lake nearby or like a river nearby.
Uh-huh.
And I remember me and Casey and Caden going there and like in the morning, early morning, fishing and then having like a little mini fire going and cooking stuff on it. I think it was
So
like beans or
cool.
something, just so simple, but
Yeah,
that
you got to go
same
with the beats
concept
too.
of being outside with the brisk air, cooking something
Yes,
will
dude.
improve mental health tenfold. It really
Right.
will.
It makes cooking fun too. Like I usually
Yeah.
like to cook. I'm a big cooking guy, but there's times when I'm like, bro, I gotta cook something, and then next thing you know, we have the um, all time most like not cool grill of all time because it's literally just our fire pit, and I bought a little like cooking grate from Walmart that has like it's made for cooking over a fire. And sometimes we'll be out there cooking chicken, and for the longest time, dude, every time I move the fire pit around and Luelle was with me, she'd be like, "Are we making some chicken?" I'd be like, "No, we're not making chicken, kid." But she got so hyped for it. So even her, she's got like the memory of cooking over
Yeah,
the
she's
fire
ready,
locked in.
dude.
Too funny.
Which brings me into the next one for me is that fire smoke in general. So we can kind of get into
Oh
the
yeah, dude,
conversation of campfires being one of the
one of the
best
best.
smells. And you know what's the peak version of this to me is not even like when I'm around the campfire sitting and smelling it. It's like if you're going about your day and you catch a waft of like
Oh yeah,
smoke
dude.
and you're
Tell
just
me
like,
about it.
ooh, I'm sure as like you're driving around, you certain spots like smell it too, and you're just that's
Yeah,
time
we're
for
cooking.
adventure right there.
Yeah.
Because that's how it'll work for me. You've seen where I live. It's kind of like a rural area, and there's like farmers and stuff here and there. So I'll
Uh-huh.
be driving, and then often like they'll be burning, like a burn pit or something, and the smoke will come through, and I'll roll down my windows and just be living my best life at that point, dude. It's
Yeah,
nothing
dude.
better than stumbling upon the smell of fire smoke, similar to like when you get that fresh grass smell in
Oh
the summer.
yeah.
You smell that, and you're just life is clean and good again. I like this.
Yeah, dude. That's clean is such a good term for it. It's so funny because fire smoke can also be
Is
like
not clean. Yeah.
so yeah, so painful. The inevitable no matter where you sit on the fire, it's yeah, exactly. Too funny. For all those listening, Luke did a perfect. It looked like he was getting smoke right in his eyes. It was great.
Right in the eyeballs, dude.
You bring up a great point about I love sitting around a fire and smelling the smoke. But dude, you're right. I'll be usually you see the same sort of times a year where people really get gung ho about doing bonfires and campfires and just sitting around the fire. It's usually when it starts getting warmer and starts getting colder. So
Hmm.
March, April, May, those months come around, dude, and I'll be delivering and I'll just catch that. I'm like, bro, I'm going home and I'm having a fire tonight. There's nothing that's going to stop me from doing it. No matter what, I'm going to do it. I get home and I'm like, "Ah, I got to put these dang kids to bed and then go to sleep. And I never have the fire. And it's always so disappointing. Same thing, dude, in the fall or even one of my fondest memories is my my one friend and my brother both came to visit when we were living in Maryland, and it was 2 hours, 2.5 hours from everybody. And they roll up. We're hanging out. It was snowing, so we took our sleds and strapped them on our back. And there was this place probably like a mile or two away, and you hike down to this massive waterfall. But it's basically hike up and hike down. So we hiked up, slid down on the sleds, got to the waterfall, hung around, came back, and slid down all the way to the car. It was one of the nicest hikes of all time. And we get home and we eat dinner, and then we're like, "Yeah, what do you want to do?" It's like, "I don't know. What do you want to do?" "I don't know. What do you want to do?" And I mentioned there's snow on the ground, and so I was like, "Well, we could smoke cigars." And they look at me like I'm crazy. And we have this like classic, you know what like the burn barrels look like? They're
I'm
like,
picturing like a hobo fire. Is that what you mean?
yeah, yeah,
Like, yeah.
exactly. We had a small one of that, and that was our fire pit for the longest time. And so we put that out there in the snow, and we pull out some chairs, and we're just sitting there around the fire smoking some stogies, dude. And it was peak hobo vibes. I found that whenever I smoke something in adverse conditions, it's the best smoke of my entire life. One of my favorite cigar smokes of all time. It's like pouring rain. It started pouring rain in the middle of my smoke, and so I went over and I'm hiding behind this like or under this like 2 foot overhang, and I'm sitting there, and I just feel like I'm on the land,
Django
dude.
himself, dude.
Yeah, I'm a little bum. I'm just floating around. So yeah, dude, fire smoke. It's so sick, and like we talked about with the first one, it pairs with just about anything else on the list. You know,
Right. Yeah,
with
you can throw
cooking.
in whatever you need
With,
that is ultimately one of your smells, one of your favorite adventure things.
yeah, dude,
Add a fire
it's
smoke to it, better.
so good. Let me see if I can find this list. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. All right. Oh, dude, this is tough. What are we gonna do here? This one This one's a little bit niche. I'm not sure if it's going to be striking notes with people, but it is to me one of the ultimate smells. And that's got to be that smell of railroad ties. I can't
Okay.
remember the it's maybe like creosote or whatever it is. They dip these bad boys in something. And that smell, dude, immediately transports me to adventure. I think it's because everywhere you go in the entire world, there's a railroad track somewhere nearby
Yeah.
because it's a massive part of the infrastructure. But it's both historical and like my learned adventure smells. Because you think, dude, for literal years, one of the massive parts of the West was them building the railroad. You know,
Right.
so these guys had to be smelling that. You go to any small western town, it's built right next to the railroad. So that smell's just got to be like permeating the air. So I'm sure that that's probably one of the things that's like stuck with us since the 1860s till now is a cowboy comes from the 1860s to the day. He's like, bro, what the heck is going on? What are all these smells? But you put that guy right next to a railroad tie, and he's like, home
Now
again,
I'm
boys.
home.
Yeah, everything's all right. It's also right beneath the railroad is where I filmed the Hunter Moss Vipers and Red Rocks trailer,
Yeah.
and that really started our whole friendship and the team of Veritas. Like in its infancy, started
Right.
right by a railroad. I just have so many good memories of wandering by the railroad tracks, and that smell is just kind of like sneaking up and catching you. And
Right.
with my obsession, we've already talked about it a bunch, dude. Obsession with the Louis L'Amour hobo lifestyle, kind of like the
Yeah.
education of a wandering man, dude. I just can't help but think about how that smell is just etched in adventure for years, dude. Even Odyssey of Fire, we got a little bumming it around the
Yeah.
United States, dude, on the trains. So you know that
Quite a
that
few trains in that one.
yeah. So I don't know. It's just so locked into my mind because dude, you start thinking, you're a hobo. You hop off the train. You're right by the railroad ties. You just snuck off and knifed a cow and cut yourself a fat steak, and you're cooking it on the open fire, dude. It's all coming together, dude. All these smells are right there next to each other. So
It is one of
that
the best daydreaming smells, you know what I mean? You kind of
yeah,
just
yeah,
drift
for
off to the
sure.
history of it, like you were saying, because there is so much history to that. And of course, campfire and stuff has history, but I don't think we
Right,
think of it in the same way that, like, the railroads really bring us back. And that's where
right.
you put that smell on the list. It makes me it made me immediately think of my morning runs because I run the train tracks, and there's
Hmm.
like stacks of, I guess like backup track or
Yeah.
something, some stacks of the wood
Yeah,
at
dude.
certain
Those are
spots, and like the smell is so powerful there, and it does draw you back. And for me, as I'm in the run, it always makes me think of like Jack London or
yeah,
Louis
dude.
L'Amour, and it's like those men were really really tough. So maybe don't complain about your little run here, and then be
Yeah.
a little tough.
Dude, that's
So like
so
it
cool.
helps me in my motivation to keep going without complaint, because you think about, you smell that and you get brought back to build a fire, which is one of my favorite
Right.
short stories. It's like, dude, shut up. That guy, if you've not
Yeah.
read that, it's like a very harsh winter survival story. And so
Yeah,
if I'm
dude.
like feeling a little cold, there's bigger problems. There could be worse problems for me. So,
Right. Yeah, I think you said it really well where like fire and the other ones they have like history, but they're so broad. Like they literally encompass all
well,
of
yeah,
history.
all of
For
history.
eternity, everyone's been cooking food over the open fire. As soon as they found fire, thousands and thousands of years ago, it's been a smell. But you're right, the railroad tie, dude, just like locks you into kind of the classic 100 years of men's adventure where it was like at its height in my opinion, from World War or from the Civil War to the end of World War II and a little bit after, it's like locked into that 100 years. So much happened and the world was unknown and they were slowly going around laying down railroad ties, dude, trying to make the world more connected. So it's crazy. It's like it was Beau Lamore who said that a Western is just civilization versus the wilderness, right? And that's
Yeah,
kind of quintessentialized, which I don't think is a word, but we're rolling with it.
we're making it
In
up to,
in the railroad, it's like literally
yeah,
the railroad it crosses the wilderness to take you to civilization. So
right. Such a good symbol in Westerns is the railroad, you kind of used as the
right,
symbol of progress, the future,
right,
technology. One of my favorite, this is kind of off topic, but I want
yeah,
to
dude,
throw it
roll
in there
with it.
because Yellowstone, I think, has one of the best openings to describe what a Western is
Yeah,
visually. In the opening scene being a horse that's like hit by a car or truck or something like
yeah,
that. And you kind
yeah,
of see the West and modern technology like mangled and disgustingly like smashed together.
right.
And you know that horse is going to die, which means the West is going to die. And it's kind of this analogy for the whole series. I thought
Dude,
that was really smart on Taylor Sheridan's part. He clearly understood what Beau Lamore was talking about and gave
yeah,
this
for sure.
really cool analogy and visual for that. It was cool.
Yeah, which speaking of analogies and visuals, something coming up in Odyssey of Fire that we haven't even talked about this side of the railroad ties is there's a line where Noah gets on a really nice train and he's like, this is so different from the hobo trains I was on. So you even have like the Orient Express trains as well that
Hmm.
are like to the point of the West dying with the horse and modern technology. You got the whole gamut of different things here where like there is a railroad that is like ultimate wilderness, ultimate like old timey like danger right on the cusp of civilization. And then you have the other railroad that's like people are wearing tuxedos on it. And so
Right.
it's even interesting within the railroad itself, you have both sides of the ultra wild and ultra civilized and kind of I mean, people used to travel everywhere by trains. So the railroad
Yeah.
in and of itself is kind of like already almost dead and almost like the West is dead and nobody at all is riding the trains that they had on the West unless you go to like the Strasburg Railroad for one of their train ride
Right.
stunt show things. So it's super interesting.
I wish we would bring train rides back, dude. I don't want to have to
I
go to
know.
Europe to do it. I want somewhere
I
here.
know. I wish it was reasonably priced too, because that's the problem is like especially do the overnight cars. You'd be much better off just flying, which is so sad, dude. It would be so
Yeah,
much fun to spend the night on a train. That's the sickest thing ever.
it is.
And
It's
a
very meant to
dining
adventure
car.
fiction. The train,
Yeah, you gotta love
the
it.
dining
Gotta
car.
love
You
it.
said
Yeah, the dining car, dude. That's the
bringing
coolest
some
thing ever.
food.
I've never been on a dining car, but imagine going. You get on your train. You don't have to drive anywhere. The train is literally taking where you need to go. You go to sleep. You wake up. Go to the dining car. They've got food waiting for you, dude. What?
You're gonna smell
That's
that
crazy.
bacon. That
I
you're gonna
know.
smell that eggs. You're just gonna be on the old open range of the wilderness, cut
That's epic, dude.
by the railroad.
Epic.
Oh, it's insane.
Too good. Too good.
So does that bring me up next?
Yeah. I think this is number
3.
3.
This is my third. Well, no, this is my
Wait, is it?
second.
Yeah,
I
for a second.
skipped one on my list because I've got them listed out by number, but I was looking at the wrong one. So my next one is actually rain. The smell of like
That's a good
rain
one.
starting, fresh rain or rain had just left. There's something about
Yeah,
like sitting
dude.
on a porch in a thunderstorm is one of my favorite peak men's adventure fiction things, or being out in the wilderness while it's pouring is one
Yeah.
of the best. And one of my favorite scenes, maybe my favorite scene in men's adventure history, is the scene in First Blood where he's taking everybody out and warning them, like, don't push me. He's not killing
Mhm.
anybody, but he's like trapping everybody. He puts Teasel against the tree and he's like, don't push me. This could get worse, kind of thing. And the whole time there's a storm happening. One of
Yeah.
my favorite men's adventure fiction scenes, hands down. And every time as a kid, I was kind of just playing that scene out a bunch. And it always stuck with me, the rain and the thunderstorm. So that smell, I think, is not as relaxing or calm vibes as a lot of people who like a cozy book on a rainy day
Right,
is
right.
for me. I think of like the chaos of nature and like the
Yeah.
adventure vibes of a rainstorm. So, yeah, being in rain, that's for me one of my favorites. I remember there was a flood in my basement, if you remember this, around Father's Day, and I was living my best life, dude. I was in the pouring rain, kind of like trying to get the water out and scooping it.
Yeah.
Was not bothered, dude. I was very happy, having
Yeah.
a great time because it was
That's too
peak men's
cool.
adventure fiction with the rain.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Rain is one of those things where like you immediately are testing yourself against the elements in nature, and it's a
Mhm.
little tamer than like, I don't know, hail or a
Yeah,
terrible snowstorm that you get caught in. Although both of those also bring their own like kind of interesting excitement where you're like, oh, I'm challenged in a new way.
right.
But yeah, dude, I love hiking in the rain because usually it means you're going to be the only person out there.
Yes.
So toss a poncho
Yeah.
on, toss the fedora on, dude. You're locked and loaded. It's so much fun. And then the there is for sure something about bailing water out of the basement, dude, or
Yeah.
our
Something good about that.
our like window well things that are in the basement. The the drainage in them is not working quite right. So the water just comes in, and sometimes it'll just fill up and immediately start leaking through the windows. So I'm
Mhm.
going out there, and it's literally raining so hard that you step out there, and even like your pants that are not covered by your raincoat immediately soaked
Yeah,
through.
soaked. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're trying to like bail the water out of there, and then coming down to the basement and trying to mop up the water on the ground. It's like
Yeah.
it's the thing that in the moment you're kind of like, this is annoying, but the frantic like movement of, all right, I gotta fix this, I gotta lock in, I actually have to be like on my masculine game of working hard and doing it in
Yeah.
a timely manner. You're right, there is something kind of nice about it. It's like the annoying part is the aftermath of being like, bro, do we have to get like these drainage things unplugged? How much is that
Yeah.
going to cost? What are we
The
going to do?
aftermath is terrible because everything was like
Yeah.
a lot of stuff was ruined in the basement, and it was just
Yeah.
a disaster. The next day was not nearly as fun. Where I'm watching the kids and Shauna's going through what we have to get rid of and what we dump in the
Yeah.
basement. I'm just, oh no!
Like,
But
why
in
can't
the
it just be raining in the basement again? That was so much better.
it was so much better standing knee deep in the water. That's the thing. Like if you're ever find yourself knee to waist to stomach deep in water, that's one of the
Yeah,
best
dude.
men's adventure fiction feelings ever. And not water like, oh, I'm going swimming, like
Right.
body of water that you wouldn't typically. And if you have clothes on, this is what I'm talking about. Extra
Yeah,
clothes,
dude.
like jeans being wet up to the knees. Perfect time. Perfect time to be
Yeah,
alive.
that's a good point.
And that's
I,
where I go ahead.
you go ahead. Sorry. Go on.
You got it.
Mine was going to be a long tangential story. Are you
All right, well, mine
sure?
will be real quick then. I'll just say, like, fishing and putting waders on, like, it's so good to be. I
Yeah.
love feeling the water put pressure on the waders and they go up, and I just want to. My dad was always like, telling me not to go that far because I was always trying to go where it
Right.
was above everything. I was like, I don't want to be fully immersed in this thing.
Yeah. Don't you have to carry a knife when you wear waders in case you get if you're in like a really fast river
Yeah,
because they
so you
can
don't
fill,
like
and you
drown
can get
yourself.
yeah. Luke was like, I'm gonna drown myself. This will be sick.
Yeah, dude. 12-year-old Luke's just, let me just see how close I can get these to the top of my knees so they fill up.
Manufacturing the danger, dude. You gotta do it. When you said the getting stuck in water that you're not supposed to be in, that's way too
Uh-huh.
high. I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but we were, I don't know, probably just like maybe sophomore, freshman year of high school, and it was summer, and we were off, and all of my friends, maybe it was junior year because I was able to drive. All of my friends posted about this tower in the middle of the woods, and this girl gave me like super clear directions. She said, "Drive to the end of the road. There's another road. Drive down that, and you'll be at the tower." And we do that, and there's no tower. And we're looking around. There's a duck blind. We walk over to the duck blind, and I look to my right, and sure enough, there's a tower off in the distance, and I can see it. So I think to myself, "Oh, it's not that far." And my brother
I don't know. I think I
Liam
remember you telling me this.
and Turnbull are like, let's just go back to the car. We'll drive over to the other one because there was another spot where you could have driven down. I was like, no, it's
Hmm.
right there. Let's just go for it. And they were like, all right. 3 hours later, we're at the tower after going through like the biggest reeds of all time that are like cutting you and slicing you up a hill, down a hill, straight into a swamp. We're walking through waist deep water. Everyone's like, "What are you doing to us, dude?"
Right,
I'm
we
like,
should have went to the car.
like it's just right over this hill. Get to the hill, it's not there. Down another hill, back up the hill. We finally got there, and it was super sick. But it was one of those things. I think I said this the first time I talked about this on the podcast too. One of those things where you're like, dude, this is an adventure. Everybody's mad at me. They're like, why are we still following this guy? He's a fraud. He's an idiot. But they kept following me for some reason, and you're in the middle of just uncomfortable, unenjoyable. All of our sneakers are soaking wet. We're all wearing shorts. Our legs are all getting cut up. We're all itchy. And you're just like, there's no place I'd rather be though, you know? Like
Right.
it's too sick. So yeah.
Yeah, there's something about that that needs to often be reminded for myself, at least, of adventure in its truest form is un it's unenjoyable. It's not enjoyable in the moment. Where
Right.
I think of even like when we manufactured it for the movie, going in the water when it was really cold for the western, and the water was
Yeah.
very cold. And we didn't want to do that, and I remember complaining about having to get in and all that, and be like, "This is gonna suck." But then once you get through it, it's like that was so enriching. It was so fun, rewarding.
Right, dude.
I love it. And like you, once you're in there, it's like, oh, this is
And
fantastic. But
one of the best shots of all time you guys were able to
in
get
the
to.
hell,
Yeah.
yeah, in
No,
hell,
just ever,
at my
dude. It was
heels.
so sick.
No, in hell, my heels is one of the coolest shots. Not one of the coolest shots ever. Have you seen the shot in Legends of the Fall where he's coming back and he's got the blood on him and he's on the horse in
Okay,
World
well,
War
that's a
One?
cool shot.
That's one of the
But
coolest shots in history. That's what I'm thinking of.
the horseback shots from Hell at My Heels are truly
Yeah, very sick.
perfect. And I think the wading through the water is also just top of the line. It doesn't matter how much money you have behind a shot, as long as you frame it upright and it's nice and
Right.
clean and the lighting's right, dude. It's so sick. And that one is the color, the light off of the water, and then you guys looking just mean as can be with your guns carried over your shoulders. So sick.
Gotta love a
So
nice western, dude.
yeah,
It's
and
almost western
especially
season.
it is almost Western season, especially when there's rain involved, dude. How many that to your
Yeah,
point
dude.
of rain falling being one of the quintessential men's adventure fiction things? How many final fights take place
Mm-hmm.
with rain? I mean, the
Dramatic
end of John
rainfall,
Wick
dude.
one was definitely a rain fight. Um, it's just classic, dude. Or you get tossed in the rain at the funeral, dude, at the
Mm-hmm.
graveyard. Nothing better, dude.
Noirs love it, dude. The detective
They
just
do
getting
love it.
doused in rain,
They
putting his
do love.
newspaper up there.
Yeah,
As he's walking.
nice, dude. There you go. That's actually it's a perfect segue into one of my other favorite
Yeah.
smells, the smell of a newspaper. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, dude, I think that's actually there's something to that. The
Yeah, it is a
I
good
smell of
smell
newspaper is a good smell.
because it's also the same. It's like the pulpy paper of the pulps, but
Hmm.
it's been a long time since I smelled a newspaper, so
Me
it
too.
can't be up there. Let's see here. We got a good list here, dude. I don't know what to think.
Yeah, you've got a beefier list than me.
We got to go. this one can segue into one of yours, I think.
Okay.
If um, yeah, I think so. I'm gonna go with the smell of leather. One of my favorite smells of all time. According to this list, top three for me. uh, I just love that smell, dude. I just got for Christmas. I got two pairs of leather boots, and the one is a Thursday pair of boots, and it is some premium grade leather. And I've been leaving those boots in the shed, or not the shed, the garage. And bro, when I walk into the garage, it's just in the air, the
The
smell of
aroma,
leather, because
dude.
that's how
Yeah.
how strong it is. Um, yesterday, so for Christmas, my wife got me a pair of Takova's cowboy boots, which she actually recruited your help for. So thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks for figuring that out.
Those are sick.
They're fantastic. They were a little tight the first pair she got, so they literally came in just yesterday, like almost a month after Christmas. And I've been wearing them all day. I'm actually wearing them right now,
Heck yeah, dude.
and they smell so stinking good. It's like it's one of those things that you hate to do, where you've got your shoe and you literally just have it like sitting in your
Gotta
face
sniff
when you're
it,
not
dude.
wearing it. Yeah, like, it smells so good. Um, but I
That
think
jacket you
leather.
got me, same thing. Just
Yeah, dude.
sniff
That's what I
on
was
it,
gonna
dude.
say. You cannot go wrong with leather because your first thought can be like, "Oh, leather, that's lame." Like it's just boots, and then you think, "Well, but it's also belts," and then oh, there's also jackets, and then you're like, "Oh, well, the shoulder holster is made of leather."
So many
Some
great tools of
regular
adventure
holsters,
fiction.
dude. Boxing gloves are made of
Boxing
leather a
gloves.
lot of times,
Yep.
right? I mean,
And the bags a lot of times.
dude, there you go. Everything, and it can be fun too. One of my like favorite kind of little hobbies is making holsters for my guns with leather. So actually cutting it down, you're smelling it, you're working on
Yeah.
it. You know that like you've got a gun nearby to size everything up and see how it works. It's just so cool. And then I don't know, it's just everything,
It
dude.
is a
Like
great one, dude. It
I
is
love it.
just so tied to the genre. Leather is a
Yeah.
part of, like you said, holsters and the jackets. Like Indiana Jones' jacket is one of the most iconic pieces of
It
adventure
really
fiction
is.
gear ever, and that's definitely leather, and it's
It sure
absolutely a
is.
part of the smell. You know what I mean? And cowboy boots, you name it, they're the tools of adventure fiction have a leather musk to them a lot of the time,
Yeah,
dude.
dude. Even the nice like leather satchel kind of guy, that's a classic. I know Adam from Get Piped has a really sick, like it's his pipe pack, but it's a fanny pack and it's made of like crazy leather. And
Dude,
I'm,
journals,
yeah, I'm not a huge fanny pack guy, but that one is
each fanny
premier.
pack. Yeah,
Yeah, dude, the leather wrap journal may be one of the best because it pulls in a book smell too with the
hmm
leather, dude. That's just so good.
and this
I
one
love it.
has a pack for your tobackies. I don't know if that, like I said, I don't know if that's actually for, but I use it for
It's
the
so
tobackies.
sick, dude.
So you just have the paper, the leather, and the tobackies in one
Oh
smell.
man,
It's a good one.
that's perfect. Yeah, I think I don't know. We have this leather candle, and it is potent, dude. We can only pull it out like once or twice a month because that thing it just cooks in the whole house. You walk in and you're like, I
It's
can't
a
get
leather
through
factory.
the cow high. But it's so good. I love it. One of my favorite smells for sure. And it is one of those things that like as soon as you smell it, you're transported to like a cobbler or one of those Wild West shops. There was a shop in
Yeah.
downtown Manitou Springs in Colorado where we would go there all the time just to walk around Manitou Springs, and the whole town's really cool. It's a little touristy, but there's this one spot, and you walk in there, dude, and they just have like stacks of leather. They have some like cow hides. They have actual like cut up pieces of leather. They have holsters. They've got the flintlocks, the
Yeah.
different knives, and you walk in there and you're like, ah, yeah, I'm home. This is where I
Beautiful.
belong. And it's
Those
just,
kind of shops are incredible.
yeah,
Like
dude,
Lowry's
so
Western
stinking good.
shop is not too far from me. It's where I got my cowboy hat. I don't know if
That's
you've ever been to the
awesome.
Lowry's, but
No, I've
same kind
not.
of thing. It's just cowboy boots everywhere, cowboy
Yeah,
hats
dude.
everywhere, leather holsters, belts, and you go in there. It's just the smells of adventure. It's the
That's so
smells
good.
of like a I don't know, like you said, an old Western town definitely had those as well. Where it's
Yeah,
like, hey, I'm gonna
dude.
go get my boots, I'm gonna go get my jacket, I'm gonna go get my
Right.
gloves,
Gotta get, yeah, dude, gloves. That's another good one that are leather.
and
Um,
you can hit like just a big sniffer to
Yeah.
get that adventure smell in there with your gloves on.
Um, which this we could talk for a few seconds about like, dude, the hand tooled leather cowboy holsters that have all those details in them, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Those are insane. And to see,
Rating in the
yeah,
2000s.
the braiding and then they like etch in like raised things that essentially looks um like how the buildings have like carved in stuff with leaves and stuff on it. They're like
Mhm.
on this leather holster. It's literally nuts. It's so cool. So that somebody's out there able to do that. That's just
Yeah, the
insane.
artistry of that is
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, it's so cool. Partnered with the smell, dude. Partnered with that, like sitting. Just, I mean, I think right back there, I've got my holster with my two revolvers in there for prop stuff, and it's just so cool. I remember watching Bonanza growing up, dude, and they would always get back to the big house, and they would take off their holsters and hang them up right by the door. And I was like, dude,
Yeah,
that's the
that's
sign of a
life.
good place right there. If there's some guns hanging around, dude, I'm hooked. I love it. Too much fun.
Beautiful, dude. Did you want that for me to segue into the boxing gym? Is that the way you
Yeah,
were
dude, I
hoping?
was thinking that would be a perfect one to
Yeah.
segue into.
But that's not the next one, so I'm kidding. Yeah. So the boxing
This
gym
guy.
has the leather, right? With we talked about the gloves sometimes
Right.
have it. Not as often. I don't feel like you see a genuine leather bag. They're
Uh-huh.
probably more expensive, but there is genuine leather bags. But I don't know what exactly is the one that strikes you first when you go into a boxing gym, but it's the everything together when you walk in there is pungent, and it's not all positive. You know what I mean? This is a sweaty place,
Yeah,
and it's a gym. That's
this is
gross.
what we do have to talk about though. There is certain smells that immediately pull you into adventure that are not necessarily like you're
Right.
like,
It's a slightly sour, tangy like well, when you go into a boxing gym sometimes. But the boxing
say it
gym I
right.
go to in particular, this is the kind I always think about and write about. Is like it's got wood floors, and it's
Yeah,
obviously they're not going to dust this place all the time. So you got like dust, it's dusty and woody,
yeah,
and,
dude.
leather and sweat, and you go in there, and also the sounds of adventure of dudes just Gates, Kratz,
Yeah,
Gates,
yeah.
and they're hitting the bag. You got dudes ringing ching, ching, weights, and you're just
That's sick,
whoa.
dude.
This environment, the soundtrack, the smells, what I'm seeing, this is all so primal and also
Yeah,
masculine that it just raises your testosterone going in there. You know what I mean? You just
yeah, dude.
feel more invigorated and ready to go. And in that environment, that's why I like environment is so important. You know, people who, if you're like, ever do work in bed, you're told not to do that because it's like, well, that's supposed to be where you sleep. You know what I mean? Your body's
Right.
wanting to get used to sleep there. And same thing goes with, I'm not a guy who goes to a gym other than my boxing gym, but if you like, you're in that environment, you work out so much more than I would at home in my boxing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? By myself and with a bag. I'm going to go way harder around a community and within that soundtrack and the smells, you just kind of, you're immersed into that world. And
yeah,
it's a
dude.
world I like.
Yeah, that's perfectly said. I don't think I've ever been to a boxing gym, but I used to do like taekwondo as a kid, and it was the
Hmm.
same thing. You'd walk in, you'd be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
yep,
Whoa.
it's time to get to work." And I think that that's so true. That's one of the probably the only benefit of the gym in my mind because I do mostly body weight stuff. So going
Yeah.
to the gym to do body weight stuff just
It's
looks
a
like
waste of your cash.
so so goofy. But you do lock in when there's a bunch of people around. You know, like I would jump rope for like thousands of times uninterrupted. Where if I'm by myself, dude, it's like every 150th one, I'm like, ah, damn it, I got to start over. You know, so it's
Hmm.
like there's stuff that hooks you in, locks you into to being there, and I think it's, dude. This is also touches on Odyssey of Fire, which I'm super excited for people to get to
Thank you
read.
for keep promoting the book, dude. You're doing a great job.
Well, I mean, but it's like that camaraderie. You posted a little excerpt from the book on Substack. So if you
Yeah.
or on Substack, you've seen it, but you talk about like the contagion and growing with people. And I think that that's such a good point. You know, like if you are there and you're struggling to push through your workout and you look over and some dude is like absolutely wailing on the bag, dude, and you're like, "Ah,
Yeah,
I
I
can't
can't
stop. I
snuff off
gotta
now, dude.
push.
I gotta push
Yeah.
harder.
It's so cool. So you got to get a little candle of that a boxing gym smell and have that for whenever you work out.
Yeah.
Your family will come down like, "Oh, what the heck is
What
going
is
on down
that
here?"
smell, dude?
Like, this is the smell of motivation of
I'm
being
like,
a man.
Sean, it's like, why do you have this bag of sweaty, unwashed clothes? Well, I'm setting that up in the corner so it smells like mildew and stuff for like the gym, you know?
It's
That's
genius, dude.
disgusting. And I got
So,
sawdust over here to smell like the wood. Why don't you just
so
go to the
foolproof.
gym? No, I'm making my own.
I gotta do this. This is a self motivation.
It's so funny. But you're right, dude. I remember this time at the gym, this kid was getting ready for Golden Gloves, younger guy, like 17 or something. And
That's
just,
crazy.
you could tell this man was in his Rocky Fort montage, dude. This guy was going for it so hard.
Yeah,
And it's like, I got such a better workout that day because it was such a good feeling and such a good thing to see a dude pushing so hard. When he
yeah.
doesn't have to, he could easily just be like, nah, boxing's for nerds. I'm going to go play video games. Like, this is a self-imposed.
Said no
I want
one
to do
ever.
this. Yeah. This is a self-imposed quest for
Yeah,
him to
dude.
find something within himself to go do something. Like, I loved that. So being
That's
around
super
that
cool.
environment is super contagious. That's why I wrote that chapter and the way I
Yeah.
did. It's like it's a great environment.
Well, even since knowing you, I've been trying to work in the shadow boxing into my jump rope time because
Yeah.
I feel like with jump rope it's so steady state that you can kind of get into to it becomes easier as you do it, and it's really good cardio, but I want to do something that's a little more high intensity, a little more challenging to break it up. So that's been really cool. But there'll be times when I'm like just not throwing, like not have my heart behind the punches and the movements, and it's like as soon as you post one of those videos of you going absolutely bananas, you posted a couple one in the Fit for Action section of the Discord. As soon as
Mhm.
I see that dude, I'm like, all right, I the fire's been relit, dude, and I'm moving so much better. I'm throwing the punches with like power and heart behind it, and so just literally even across the internet, seeing you
Right.
put your best foot forward with the shadow boxing or bag work, it's like, bro, I gotta step my game up. I gotta fight harder to be better and be stronger. And my workouts get much harder whenever you do that. So thanks for not having done that for a minute. But
Dude, and thank you for the same thing because I was gonna say, do you remember like Christmas Eve or something? You talked about this sick workout you did, and I was like, I wasn't gonna work out today. Now I have to. You know what I mean? I can't not. That was
yeah, dude.
too thick, and this guy's out here getting after it. And I can't be like, well, it's Christmas Eve because Nathaniel didn't say that, so I gotta go do this. And it's so good to have somebody like that because you
Yeah.
really do, get you rub off the habits of the people around you and the
Right.
mindsets of the people around you. And if I had a bunch of friends that were just like lazy and didn't work out, I would not have worked out that day. I would not have
Right.
pushed myself. And it's great to have good people with like-minded goals in your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
dude, it
join the
is.
Discord if you don't have that yet. There's a ton in there.
Yeah. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another, dude. That's what it's all about.
There it
Which
is.
a little uh honorable mention, the smell of metal or iron or knives, dude. That's a classic one.
You gotta do a sharpening like whetstone and a blade.
Yeah. Good one,
So
dude. Good one. All right, so we're down to the final four here, two from each of us. For me, this one, uh, I have just pipe tobacco written down, but this one could be so much broader, dude. We could
yeah,
spend the rest of eternity talking about this. The smell when you first walk into a walk-in humidor at like a cigar shop, dude.
that is one of the best of all
Unreal.
time, dude.
Yeah, because you
That is
got
one of the
the
best.
the cedar, the Spanish cedar smell. You've got the tobacco leaf smell. Um, Maybe you can smell the pipe tobacco outside of that because usually they don't have pipe tobacco in the walk-in humidor, dude. Just the combination of those things coming together, unreal. And I mean, that's one of my favorite things to do. We'll have any friends over, and I'll be like, I just got some new pipe tobacco. And they're like, bring that out. Let's smell it. And we just pass it around the room. People are smelling that. And usually they're always like, oh, it smells like dates or figs. And usually they do smell like that. But I just got a lot of Kia blend that has like a rum punch on top of it and pass that one around. Everybody's like, whoa, what is that? Because it's the lot of Kia is like smoked. It's pre-smoked over a fire. So they have these big barns and then they have a fire going beneath and it literally is fire cured. So it's like super potent, super
Wow.
pungent. And then to add the rum punch on top of it, dude, it smells so good. But it
That's
is like
awesome.
it punches you right in the nose. And then we haven't even talked about lighting any of these things. I mean, smelling just a cigar with unlit, dude,
Yeah,
one of the best
so
smells
good.
ever. I mean, I think I got one sitting around here somewhere.
Yeah, you could
I'm
definitely do
tempted
a
to.
little sniffer on it, you know?
Yeah, dude, it's so much fun. Don't do that when you go to the walk-in humidor though. Don't just grab the guy and go, and then like, not getting that one though.
Yeah, I'm
That's
gonna put
the
that back.
it's one of the worst things you can do. My old boss, because most cigars are wrapped in cellophane, people would pull that up. They'd grab the cigar, smell it, and then they'd put it back and be like, "Smells an awful lot like cellophane, doesn't it?" It was always hilarious because you sometimes you can't smell through the cellophane, dude. Most of
Right.
the time.
And now you just wasted the time
Yeah.
of picking it up, putting your snot
And
all
this
over it.
guy is making fun of you now, dude. It's brutal out here for a fella. So yeah, I mean, like I said, we were sitting around the fire smoking those stogies, dude. Classic smell. You light up a pipe. That's one of the saddest things about today's day and age is not being able to smoke inside places, dude. The smell of an aromatic pipe tobacco, like filling up a
Carrying through the
room,
air. Yeah, dude. Smoke
one of the
shops, you
best.
go into one of those,
Yeah, dude.
great
My
smell.
one of my really good friends in Colorado, he would say that he taught a bunch of people how to smoke pipes when he got into it, and he said that he told me he was like I would always purposely let them start smoking first because I needed to smell the room note because once you start smoking, you're not really able to smell it as much. So
Mm.
he would always do that, and we would hang out all the time, probably once or twice a month, and smoke pipes and play cards and dominoes. And every time I'd watch him, and he would wait for me to light up first because he wanted that room note smell, dude. It's just too
This
good.
this whole conversation is just showing me so much of what's missing in my life right now, and I need to
I
go
know.
cook something over the fire. Well, no, first I need to work out with somebody.
Yeah, in the
Then I
boxing
need to
gym.
go, yeah, go to the boxing gym, work out with somebody, go out, cook over an open fire with them, then go into the humidor and get some
Oh yeah,
cigars at the
dude.
smoke shop and then smoke them.
Dude.
I think I'm gonna set that up sometime in the future because these smells need to occur right now.
For sure, we'll be doing stuff like this at Pulp Fest.
Paul Fest, dude. Yeah.
Quick, we literally started a new channel in the Discord chat titled exclusively for Pulp Fest and other events like that because the people are coming out, dude. We got
This is
a long
fantastic.
list of people who are gonna make it to Pulp Fest. So super excited about that. And maybe we'll get a little fire outside fire going somewhere.
Yeah.
Right outside, maybe in the parking lot of
The
Pulp Fest,
police
dude.
come, we're
It'll
just
be
start
great.
fighting them, dude, and it's an adventure from here.
That's genius. Yeah, that's a really good point. It's so tough to find time to actually do these things that are like
No.
so adventure
We gotta
wild.
force it in there though, dude. Our
Yeah,
lives are
dude.
just moving with momentum that's not gonna stop.
You got to. You got to make it happen. Because that's
Gotta
the
make
whole
it
thing,
happen.
right? Like what is all the busyness that you're going through if you can't enjoy a pipe
Yeah.
with the boys, if you can't
Uh-uh.
sit around a fire cooking some steaks, dude, cooking some eggs, I don't care what it is. Cooking a hot dog. It's what it's all about.
Yeah.
At least the one thing they can never take from us, dude, is our cowboy boots and our
To
combat
sniff
boots,
them,
dude.
dude.
Yeah, you can be sitting there at work, dude, pull that bad boy up and take a sniff immediately.
So
Immediately
funny.
locked in.
Dude,
Yeah,
one more note or like thing that I have for the conversation on cigars and like the humidors and stuff like that, just because I
yeah,
don't know when else I could bring this up and I also kind of want
bring
your
it up,
take on
dude.
all this. But my favorite thing to do in a humidor, like the walk-in humidor rooms with the cigars everywhere, is look for the absolute chungus of all chunguses, dude. Look for the biggest cigar I could possibly find. Never once have I bought it or
Yeah,
smoked it, but I need to find it. What
dude,
is your
they're
take on the huge
crazy.
cigar?
They're very disturbing. I don't know who the heck is smoking those bad boys, but I mean, so the way that cigar gauges work is they'll do an inch number first, which is the length, and then they do the ring gauge, which is
The
broken down into
girth.
yeah, it's the girth, but it's broken down into 64ths of an inch. So
Okay.
your your Churchill is 7 inches by 52 out of 64. So it would be a 7 by 52. And those guys, those are pretty reasonable. I think the biggest size that I would like to smoke would be like maybe a 56, but even then I'm like,
Yeah, it's too much.
I can't do it.
What are you doing?
Don't even try and take a picture of yourself smoking because you're like,
Yeah, you look like a nerd.
uh, yeah, you look like the king of all dweebs. Bro, some of these, like you said, the chunguses, They go up to 9 by 90. 90, 64 of an inch. That's like over an inch and a half, right? Or just under. That is
Math guy,
literally
dude? Nah,
massive.
fuck
That's
that.
like that big. You
Yeah.
can't even fit your finger around these bad boys.
Yeah, who is
Crazy.
smoking those? That's
I don't know.
absurd. I would
But this,
throw up for sure because I'll throw up off of some cigars if I smoke them too fast. They're just normal
yeah, dude,
cigars.
for sure. Which is interesting. Actually, sometimes the smaller they get, the more potent they
Oh
have and the
yeah.
more punch they have behind it.
So I need the chungus.
No, nobody needs the chungus. My boss at the cigar shop would always say that as the cigars get bigger and the ring gauge gets bigger, it actually smooths out the flavor. So if you're smoking a cigar that's like really kind of peppery or strong flavor wise, not necessarily like nicotine strength wise, but flavor wise, if you go to the smaller ones, that will punch you in the mouth because
Hmm.
the wrapper leaf is where a lot of the flavor comes from. So the smaller it is, the more wrapper it has
Gotcha.
because
That's what
because
you're
of
saying.
science.
Yeah, science and math.
But the bigger you get, the less wrapper there is
Uh-huh.
compared to the
It's all
filler
thinned
and
out.
the binder. Yeah, exactly. So you're getting that's why I don't know who's smoking these 90 gauge cigars because the smoke probably has to be super like airy, I would imagine. I don't know. I've never smoked it, but bro, I worked at a cigar shop for about a year. There was one guy, he would always come in. He would walk straight to the 75 to 80 ring gauge cigars. He'd pick it up, he'd look at it, he'd go, hell yeah. Walk over, he'd buy it, go up there. He would smoke for 10 minutes and leave. And he would smoke like less than an inch off the cigar. And I would always clean
You
the
would leave it
cigar
there?
ashtrays. Yeah.
Or would you take it with
He
him?
would, no, he would literally leave it there. I was always throwing out like 95% of this cigar. It's like,
Yeah.
bro, buy a cigarillo. What the hell are you doing
Yeah.
getting the chungus of all chunguses? There's
I'm a
these
huge
cigars
cigarillo dude.
are
Which
not for you, fella. Yeah, yeah, the Toscanos, dude. I
yeah.
got a bunch for Christmas. Definitely bringing a bunch of those to Pulp Fest because those are the
But
ones you cut them in half and give one to
yeah.
your
No
friend, dude.
way. That's
Yeah,
those are
they're
my
so
favorites, is like
sick.
the little guys, which I know this brand, it seems like I know nothing about like the tobacco world, but
Yeah,
it
yeah.
seems like this brand is hated. But the acids, I felt like I like a little pack of acids, dude. Are so
Hmm.
sick. They were so small. They're perfect.
Yeah, dude.
It was awesome. I loved them.
Yeah,
But
people
I
do
don't
hate
think people
those
like
because
those though.
well, they're flavored cigars, so they're infused with like herbal essences, and then they have
Uh-huh.
a sugar. The glue they use to put the caps on is like sugar glue. So when you suckle on that bad boy, you're getting a mouthful of sweetness. So they, I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, you're coming from a guy that
they're
likes Swisher Sweets and whatever's at the
well, I was
gas
about to
station,
say
so
they're
I'm
one of
cool
the
with it.
things that I think the reason cigar guys hate them is because they hate to admit that they actually think that they taste a little good. They're like, nah,
Yeah.
I can't admit it. I'm not a man anymore if I like these. So I think that I mean I don't smoke them very regularly because they are like overpoweringly sweet in my mind. But I think that if people want to smoke acids, dude, if there's tobacco being burnt, I
It's
don't
a good
care what
time.
it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
smoke that bad boy. So yeah, dude. I could talk about tobacco all the time. One of my favorite things is if I'm smoking in the shed, one of the girls wakes up. Hopefully I'm smoking tobacco because or pipe tobacco. If I come in there with a cigar, the whole house starts
Whole different
smelling.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta like take a quick shower before I go get these girls from waking up.
Some
You know,
peanut
because it's
butter on
so.
the mouth, dude. Get
Um,
rid of that taste.
so I put them back to sleep, rock them to sleep, go back out there, dude, and that tobacco room note is sitting in there. I remember one time walking out there and it smelled like someone was cooking chocolate chip cookies. I was like, bro,
Mm.
this is it, dude. This is so good. And I was like, I don't even know if I want to light my pipe back up. I just want to sit here in this like the warmth because I have the heater going if it's the winter. So
Yeah.
you walk in out of the cold, nice and warm, dude. There's a slight little like film of smoke sitting down on top, and you're in there, and you're like, dude, this is it. I
That
could
brings
stay out
me
here
that
for
brings me
hours
back, dude.
writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's the best.
Because my in-laws, they smoke out in their garage and they have like a
Yeah.
heater. So like
Oh
I
yeah, dude.
remember writing
It's
Frozen
peak.
Wrath in the winter and going out there and the smoke being there on a leather
Yeah, dude.
seat. He's got his motorcycle there and the oil, and I was just like, "Oh, this is fantastic, dude!" It was one
Yeah,
of the
dude.
best
You
kind of
can't
like
help but write.
environments. Yeah, it
That's
was
so good.
fantastic.
So good.
Who are we on now? Is that you or me?
That's you. It's you got number two, which I think we can just continue the conversation if memory serves for what yours
How
might be.
dare you? How dare you? No, I'm not gonna do cigar smoke if that's what you're saying, because
Yeah,
we
yeah,
kind of already
we
touched on
just
that.
covered it.
I skipped that one. So boiling coffee, I've got. If you want to talk about that one
Oh
next,
yeah, dude. Which
boiling
goes
coffee.
perfect with tobacco, dude.
Yeah,
It's fantastic. Quick, sorry, quick
no,
plug.
you got it.
Our boy Preston the Great in the Discord. He has a whole coffee company called Tombs Hollow Coffee. Fantastic coffee. He names them after like cowboys. So check him out. We can try and link his website below. Fantastic, dude. I think Bass Reeves is the decaf one because I wanted
Sick.
something for when I'm sitting out in the shed late at night because
Yeah,
coffee and tobacco go perfectly together. Sorry, not to hijack your thing. I just
no,
wanted to
you're
throw
good.
a shout out to him.
That's
Sorry,
perfect.
boiling coffee.
Uh, yeah,
You're
particular like so. I love all smells of coffee, even like a Keurig at work. I'm just gonna,
yeah.
oh yeah, please, venture. Uh,
They're like,
I'm gonna
what are you
sit there and
doing?
know that.
We're working, and you're sitting there like nose right by the tree. Like,
Just
nothing, nothing.
sniffing it.
Don't
I've had
worry.
many a clients come in and be like, "It smells so strong of coffee in here." I'm like, "I know, relax." But I that's particularly like cowboy coffee that you do over a
Oh
fire
yeah,
and it
dude.
boils and it's steaming out. There's something particular in that smell that is, ooh, gets me going, baby doll.
Yeah.
And when we speak of like memories and how these things bring us back, it's a thing that me and Caden, Casey's brother, that we always do together. It's something that we'll like meet up at a park. We'll start the fire together,
Yeah, dude.
and then like we'll put the cowboy coffee mug thing over
Yeah,
top of
love
it,
it.
put the grounds in there, the water, and just make it in real time while smoking cigars or a pipe together, talking, and it
That's
boils and we
peak,
pour it.
dude.
It is, yeah, it is definitely one of those memories when you talk about deathbed stuff that like, yeah, I'm just gonna be so happy that I had that, and it's
Yeah.
so I cherish those memories with him so much of just like
Yeah.
it's like you have stuff that you uniquely do with like one certain friend, like these certain
Uh-huh.
things that you do. So it's like I don't really do that with anybody else, and I would love to, but nobody else ever does it. But like me
Right.
and Caden go out there and do that same thing, and it's such a mixture of like being outside. It's usually early in the morning, so you get that wet
Yeah, dude.
early dawn smell
Oh
around the
yeah.
cook the fire and the boiling coffee. And the last thing I would say before I throw it to you is just like the boiling coffee is obviously going to bring us to Louis L'Amour because
Yeah.
it is the cowboy coffee. That is how they did it
It
back
is
then. Those
so
over the
sick,
open
dude.
fire. And there's too many a great camp scenes in cowboy western films and book that I'm not gonna not think about that. And credit where credit's due, Cormac McCarthy I think has some of the best campfire conversation slash cooking over the fire
Yeah.
scenes. Even though I don't really enjoy Cormac McCarthy, he does that so well. It makes you
That's
feel
so
like you're in
cool.
there.
Yeah. I love it, dude. It is one of my favorite kind of like coffee scenes, I think, is in either The Mucker or The Oakdale Affair or The Mucker 2 by Edgar Rice Burroughs. And it's the hobos and they're literally right off to the side of the rail line and they're sitting there drinking coffee, dude. It is just like the universal sign of everything's okay. You know, like you're like,
Yeah,
damn, life is tough. And then you roll up and somebody's got a hot mug of coffee to hand you, and you're like, all right, we can do this. This we can make
yeah,
it through this. One of my favorite scenes of all time, and I sort of recreated this one time nobody knew it was. I wasn't like intentionally trying to recreate it. It just happened, and I felt so cool. And then I had talked about how cool it was, and everybody was looking at me like I was an idiot. So I kind of nerfed the coolness. But one of the coolest scenes of all time, dude, is Spencer Dutton sitting down at that table,
oh
and
yeah. And you just
he
keep getting more
he
coffee.
gets the coffee and he starts drinking it, and the guy's like about to leave. He says, nope, and he drinks the one and he gets another one and he drinks it,
So
dude.
sick.
And then he goes and he has to sit out all night to kill the leopards, I think is what it is. And
Hmm.
it's literally just like, dude, it is adventure fuel. It's writing fuel. It's all of these things, dude. There's nothing cooler. And to your point about the cowboy coffee, I'm terrible at making coffee. I may be the worst coffee maker of all time because I don't usually drink it. But then the other day, dude, you were like, "Well, just make cowboy coffee." And I can't remember why. My wife was like, "Can you stop at the store and pick up some coffee?" And I was already like 3 minutes from home. I was like, "I cannot." I was like, "I'll make you some though." So I got home and I was like, because she works overnights. I was like, bro, usually what happens is I make the weakest coffee of all time. My brother will always come, he'll spend the night, and he has to drive like 2 hours and 15 minutes home. And he's always like, I don't want to go to Starbucks. I'm like, nah, I'll make you coffee, dude. And he gets it, and he gets in the car, and he's calling me. He's like, bro, this is like brown water. What the hell did you do? And I'm like, nah, it's good. You gotta believe me. Um, so I just like dumped every ground I had into this pot and put a bunch of water in there, and I made the strongest coffee of all time.
Yeah, dude, because cowboy coffee does make it stronger. Like it's
it,
the way
it was
it
great.
boils,
Yeah.
you're gonna get the most caffeine you'll ever get out of those beans will come from that.
Um,
Maybe there's a different process that's more, but it's more than doing it in your Keurig or your other,
yeah.
brewing it.
Well, I appreciate you turning me on to it because I feel like that's so much more approachable than trying to figure out how my French press works. Or I have a Keurig that has like a you can put the grounds into the Keurig like spot. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool. I don't know how that works though. Do I look like a scientist to you? So I drink coffee a lot less than I should. Even the decaf, dude. So I'm locking in. 2026 is going to be the year of
But
drinking some
you're an
coffee.
anomaly, dude. A true specimen of this planet because you don't drink coffee or alcohol. You're just a clean living man. It's
Thanks,
impressive.
dude. I
I'm
appreciate that.
impressed by it. It's very cool. Like I'm a coffee
Um,
dependent loser, dude. I've got a heart condition. I should not be drinking this much coffee. I've
well, I
already
think
had one.
with coffee, I always think like for as long as I can manage to have my energy come from within, I've got to do it because during Christmas Eve, I was just coming off of being sick. Um, I had to work at the 5:30 a.m. shift, and I was like, I'm working as fast as I can because I'm getting home at lunchtime if I can manage it. So I got a coffee from Starbucks because Amazon did a free coffee Starbucks thing for all the
Yeah.
drivers. So I got that bad boy. I think I got a shot of espresso in it. I got the protein, like 3 protein cold
Nice.
foam things. So I was feeling jacked the whole day too. And I
That's
drank
when you
that,
did
dude.
that workout. That's
And I was
sick.
flying. And I got done that shift and I was like, this is dangerous. I cannot start drinking coffee because my performance did markedly increase in quality. And like
Right.
I was
Which
just
it'll
more
do
aware.
that, but then it'll
Yeah.
and you'll have to
And
drink
then I'll be
5 cups
cooked,
of
dude.
coffee and just be I need that feeling again. Where's that feeling?
It's drugs, dude. It's literally.
It is.
So I try not to have. I mean, because we would when we went on all these trips where I was talking about in the beginning, us sitting around the campfire, we would drive through the night, and we learned very early. In a very unfortunate way that my wife cannot drive through the night. Nothing bad happened, but we had our bed set up in the back, so I was sleeping in the back, and she was aggressively like, "I'll drive the first shift," which was like 2 to 6 a.m. 2:30, I'm hearing her singing in the front, "Stay awake, stay awake." I was like, bro, what's
You're
going on?
just waking up out of
So
sleep.
I got up and I had to sit up with her the entire shift and then had to drive the next one. And then somehow,
Do my
dude,
shift and your shift.
I let her get me again on the way back. I could not believe it. I was so mad. Not necessarily even at her, at myself for being an idiot. So
Yeah.
we learned very early that my wife cannot drive in the dark
Fair
overnight.
enough.
So we would go on all these trips because you'd get like 3 or 4 days off and you would be like, oh, Rocky Mountain National Park is 2 hours away. Yellowstone is 7 hours away. We gotta try for it. And instead of taking your one whole day of the 3 days up by driving, you would leave at like right off work the first day. Leave at 7 p.m. Get there at like 2:30 in the morning. Uh, Go straight to sleep. Wake up at 8:30. Make your cowboy coffee. Make your bacon and eggs. But I'd always just
Pretty hard.
drink one coffee, and it would keep me up through the whole night.
Beast.
So there were
Keep that
times
up
when,
as long as you can, dude.
yeah,
Keep
I
that up.
got to, dude. I gotta hold on to that for everything within me. But there was something oh, your description of your time with Caden when you guys do that, I think if nothing else, this episode has made me think, like you said, when we were talking about the pipe stuff, dude. There's so many more things that need to be prioritized in life, dude. The sitting there, I need to go out with a buddy and sit outside drinking cowboy coffee and smoking
Right.
cigars once a week now. Like, what the heck have I
Yeah.
been doing, dude? Like, um,
Gotta add it
so
in.
it's stuff like that that it's like, man, you can't. It's things that seem small or insignificant, but you cannot quantify or qualify how much that does for your well-being, you know? Like there's just something about sitting around a fire, sitting around a hot cup of coffee, sitting around a cigar that soothes the soul of a man and makes you
It's true.
more the way you need to be. So yeah,
Well
maybe
said, dude.
2026 is the year the good smells happening all the time, and not just being triggers for memories, but being
Right.
triggers for action, dude. So
That's good stuff. Well said. I think you just made the intro right there.
maybe we'll see. I
You
guess
up next? Last
I
one?
guess this is the last one, dude. This one is the quintessential men's adventure fiction smell. One that I have not smelled in far too long because I'm a poor bastard. Gunsmoke, dude. The
Yeah.
smell of gunpowder. Sometimes all the Bond books say cordite, dude. I
Hmm.
love it. I love that smell. Whatever it is, however you want to call it. The as soon as you smell a gun go off and you're smelling the smoke wafting throughout the air, dude. Fantastic. And it's linked for me to very early on in my life. I mean, I learned how to fire guns at a young age, but even before that, dude, we had cap guns, which are a little pocket of gunpowder that the
Hmm.
trigger or the hammer falls on and it goes off and
Yeah, that
puffs
same smell
smoke,
coming.
dude.
Yeah.
And it is the best smell ever. I remember running through for the longest time, probably like I was just talking with Caroline about this, 8 to 12. I always dressed like a cowboy. We got these like $50 cap guns that were all metal, and they had like a little cylinder that would rotate, and it had fake bullets in there, and then the paper caps went under the cylinder so you could fire it, and it was the coolest, dude. I would practice my quick draw all the time. I'd wander around the woods. I'd always wear flannels and vests, and I told my wife yesterday I always wanted cowboy boots, but the Walmart lady or whoever was selling cowboy boots was like, "Nah, they grow out of them too fast. Just get these rubber boots instead." So I was rocking the rubber boots, dude. Devastating. So something's been healed in me when my wife got me these cowboy boots that I didn't even know needed to be.
Full
So
circle.
all is right in the world. I just need to grab my cap guns now. But dude, I mean, it's just the best memories of all time. I remember my dad's one of his really good friends, a really great mentor in my life, was a sheriff's deputy, and he came up with us with just a ton of ammunition one day. Absolutely the coolest thing. We were firing guns from probably like 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. and it was just unreal. Like it was the
Yeah.
coolest thing ever. We had so much fun, dude. So
So yeah,
it's the
there's
best memories.
it is the best memories and like the best men's adventure fiction smell too, for sure. If everything we
Yeah,
said was like, oh, this is linked to the adventure. I mean, guns are in every men's adventure fiction story you've probably ever read,
yeah,
and
dude.
it's definitely a part of that. And just being out in nature, what memories it serves for me is particularly shotguns. Like that's the smell when you mentioned that I
Mhm.
think of, and when it, like you break it open and the smoke's pouring out as
Dude, it's
they
so cool.
they eject, and
So
you're
cool.
just, oh, it smells great. And it reminds me of like what I think is probably, if you needed to prescribe like a men's adventure fiction day and adventure to somebody, I would say to go on like a quail hunt, where you
Oh
have the
yeah,
dog with you, and then they go
dude,
on
so
point,
cool.
and you guys have your shotguns, and you're getting led by the dogs to where they are. It's just like you're outside. There's smoke for sure coming from somewhere,
Right.
and you could be smoking while you're doing it, talking with your
Yeah,
friends,
dude.
and it it's just such a good experience. And I remember doing that with my dad, and
It's
every time I
awesome.
smell smoke, I'm thinking about that and that environment,
Yeah,
that world, and it's just peak adventure, full through and through.
yeah. That's too cool. Yeah, dude, it sounds like the ultimate day. You wake up, you cook yourself a steak and eggs,
Hmm.
have some cowboy coffee, smoke a pipe, go on a nice little hike to hunt. Dude, it's just perfect.
It is perfect.
That's too much fun. Yeah, I one of my goals for this year is to get into hunting because I've never had the chance, and I think it would be really really cool.
Yeah,
So I'm hoping to do that this year, which is nice. I guess there's hunting season still going on somewhere, but I'll probably get all the stuff done over the summer for this
yeah.
coming fall, which would be pretty neat. But yeah, dude, you I've worked at several gun shops. One had a range, and some of my fondest memories of ever working would be they'd hand me a case of ammo. They'd say, go film a video about this gun. So I'd have to spend like half the week researching the gun, writing up a little article, and I'd go down there and I'd put a couple hundred rounds through, dude, and just I would go in before the range opened, and I would have free range to do whatever I want with it, and it would be so much fun. I'd do some like moving drills. I would go in front of like where you're supposed to stand because I was able to because no one was there, so I could get better shots. The background was cleaner, all that stuff. I practiced some quick draws, dude. And while all this is happening, that the more I shoot, the more the smoke is filling up the atmosphere. Yeah, dude, I'm just sitting there getting to use rifles, pistols. We had a Smith and Wesson 686, I think, is what it was, which was for the longest time the Border Patrol standard issue firearm, and it's a really cool revolver, dude. So I was practicing the quick draws with that guy.
That's super.
We had a Heckler and Koch P7, which is one of the coolest guns ever. Super rare. They go for probably like $2 to $3 these days. Wow. But it has a cocking. So if you don't squeeze the handle forward, it can't be shot. So when you squeeze it forward, it cocks the gun for you, and then you can pull the trigger. So it was built for the purpose of like law enforcement, so that they had to do an extra step to really make sure that they were shooting people the way they wanted to. The guns weren't negligently discharging or anything, or discharging out of like fear or anything like that. But there's like one or two stories of if that cocking mechanism breaks, you are cooked. You cannot fire the gun. And so like one or two police officers got killed because their gun stopped working, and nobody can fix it except for the manufacturer. So it's like one of the coolest guns ever.
With one of the biggest flaws
with some catastrophic outcomes. Those may be rumors or untrue, but that's like if you look it up, there's one or two people who are like, yeah, I lost a friend who was a police officer because the cocking mechanism stopped working, which is crazy. But it is a super cool gun. I got to use a really, really old Savage 99, which is a hunting lever action rifle. It's just too cool. So it's linked with that. It's linked with spending hours outside at my parents' house with our gun range and the berm we had set up there. It's linked to days of running around in the woods with my cap gun, shooting at imaginary bad guys, dude. It's just the best smell ever. So I think that's got to be it for me. I love it.
That's perfect, dude. And like you said, these are all so linked to the memories. That's where these all really stem from for us. But they should indicate to you what you want to see more of in your life and how these smells need to be there more often than not. Because, if not, you're not living the life as fully and as fulfilling as you'd like, for sure. It means so much to us. They bring up so much in us. So we should pursue them more. We should get be a part of our lives more.
For sure. It's too much fun. It is. I don't know who says it, but they always say that smell is so linked to memory, like you were just saying. So it's like, it's just cool that you can have these things, no matter how bad a day is going, no matter how hard a day is, dude. Like you said, you're walking out there and you smell the campfire smoke, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
years of memories just got unlocked. I think I'm going to be okay, And then to think of, there's no such thing as future memories, but to think of like, oh, when I smell this smell, I think of all the times I'm going to be smelling it for the next, hopefully 70 some years or whatever it's going to be that I live, Like, it's just so cool. Your mind has been free and you're locked in. Do you have, I think you got one more?
I got one more. And this one could be a quick one because it's paperback smell. Like, I like the smell of paperback, dude. And that can just, it's so open-ended to any story you're smelling and reading, you're connecting to whatever that is bringing out. So it's hyper-specific to that. But, yeah, old bookstores and old books and just
got one right here.
Sniffing on the old strip for murders. It is.
You got to.
It is perfect. I don't know what it is. It's probably not seen as an adventure smell too much, like a men's adventure fiction smell, but with the stories that it holds for me, a lot of the times it is. And so,
dude.
I just like how you sniff the gloves or the leather jacket, I would definitely find myself just sniffing books sometimes because it's so good.
Yeah, dude. It's like all of the things we talked about up till now are usually spent or found doing something, you know? Whereas
Mhm.
this one is the window to all of these things through your mind, you know? Like you can literally do anything we talked about by reading a book and being pulled in. If the
Right.
author's doing their job well, they will immediately pull you in so that you're basically smelling the smells for yourself, you know? Like there's some of my favorite descriptions involve all of the senses at the same time and kind of hook you into this. So when you're sitting there holding your paperback and you're reading that and then you can just smell the paperback, it's like transporting you. It's like the one smell that can conjure up other smells kind
Yeah,
of. You
dude,
know
it'll
what I
link
mean?
everybody together. Yeah,
Yeah, dude, it's so
so
cool.
good.
So yeah, I mean, when I think of smelling a book, I think of my one friend in Colorado, one of the coolest adventure guys I know. Um, he had an office, and it's beautiful. It had like really cool red-ish wallpaper, a lot of dark, woody, like brown red tones because he had a lot of different wood in there. He had
Hmm.
a big bookshelf with a ton of books, a bunch of maps, and a fish tank. And he had these really nice leather chairs,
This
and
is
he would
dirt pit.
smoke. Yeah, he was the cool. He's one of the coolest dudes ever. He would smoke his pipe and cigars in there, and I remember
Yeah,
sitting in there, and that's kind of exactly where like you're transported to this woody library kind of place, and that's when you just think of like sticking that book like right on either side
right.
of your face and just smelling it for a few seconds. It's one of the best things ever, dude.
It
That's a
is.
perfect one to end on.
Yeah, because you guys can go pick up a book right now.
I know,
Crime is
dude.
My Caper is out right now. You should be reading that one.
Thank you, thank you.
And
Got
getting
it right
transported
here.
to the adventure. It's got some nautical smells that we didn't touch on really, but dude, like
I
sea,
know,
like because we
dude.
don't really live in that part of the world. But if we did,
Right.
we'd be saying like sea salt off the the morning air
Oh,
and stuff
that's a
like that.
great one, dude.
There's things like that that are in the vibes of Crime is My Caper that you should be
Yeah.
getting in with right now, especially as winter drags on. If you're here with us, like
Oh yeah.
transported and escaping to Crime is My Caper.
Right. That's another good one would be like kind of the smell of de decomposing wood and moss and stuff, which you would find in the jungle, dude, which is where Nate Colt is in Crimes My Caper.
There you go,
I
dude.
love that smell. I love the. I mean, we could probably do another
I know
episode of
we
this,
could.
but we won't. But drop your favorite smells, your favorite men's adventure fiction smells below. Message us on Instagram if you want to chat about that. Uh, Jump into the Discord. We can talk about it. You can do the post here in the comments. But, dude, we got some pretty exciting things coming up with Men's Adventure Fiction May. The deadline, I think, is March 14th, if memory
Yeah,
serves. So that's what, 2 months almost to
yeah.
the day?
Two
Maybe a
months to the
little,
day.
yeah,
Tomorrow.
tomorrow, which is when this goes live.
Yeah,
So
which is what this
perfect.
class.
2 months. You got 2 months. That's plenty of time. That's 1 month for writing, 1 month for editing. That's 2 months for writing, 1 day for editing. You can break it up however you want. 1 day for writing, 2 months for editing. You can do whatever. But write a fantastic adventure story and send that bad boy in. There will be cash prizes for the top four and publication. Super exciting. There's been some bestsellers that have come from the last year. Some of our most consistent authors were winners of Men's Adventure Fiction May.
Yeah.
It is a great opportunity to get your books published, and to say that it's an award-winning book. You know, like that's a great thing to put on the table.
To
So,
win the Men's Adventure Fiction May
dude,
Award, dude, that's gonna
the
become
best,
something huge.
the best award ever. What? That's so cool.
Truly. Yeah, definitely get your writing in. Get one of these smells with you. Go by the
Yeah,
campfire,
dude.
get the coffee going, get the cigar up there, and wear your leather gloves to write this story.
Oh yeah. And then the last thing we'll kind of end on is one of these days in the next before January ends, we are gonna release a list of the short story collections we're planning to put out in 2026, so that you can start firing on all cylinders and get stuff locked out. There's several subgenres that are still up for debate, which is why we can't give you the list now. But we will have it to you before this month ends. I don't know if you have anything to add on that.
No, I think you're right. We're waiting to make sure we pick the right one so we can tell you guys ahead of time and give you space to write those stories long before you feel like a deadline's encroaching on your creativity.
Yeah, for sure. And then last but not least, we have our weekly 52 weeks of sci-fi. Were you able to watch any sci-fi or read any sci-fi this week?
No, not this week. These are disqualifying weeks though because we were finishing the book and everything like that. So give me a break, you son of a gun.
Let me see if I can figure out where what Zerk has for us. And the suggestion for this week from our hero Zerk in the Discord is Armor by John Stakely. So he said that he picked ones that are a little more like adventure and action forward than they are sci-fi, just for you. So
thank you, Zerk.
We'll see what we can do.
Is this a book?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I think that's what he said because that's I asked him only about books. So those are
I guess
the
if
ones.
it's by somebody, that should cue me in that it's not a movie.
Yeah, unless he was going full bore and naming the director of the movie. Sometimes people do that. So there we go. What is this, week 2 of 52 for sci-fi, dude? Let's see. You guys should start. We should start a betting pool of how many weeks it'll take for you to find a sci-fi you like. Drop your guesses below.
And if I like Starship Troopers, would that mean it took 1 week? Or if I watched it on week 3 or 2, would that mean?
I'm not sure. I think he's talking about the book.
Mm-hmm. Or if
Starship
I read
Troopers.
Starship Troopers
and you liked
week 6 or whatever and liked it, would that mean it took 1 week?
I think that would take 1 week, yeah.
All right.
Dude, we'll find out. We're going to find out. This is a great segment for me because I don't have to do anything other than just tell you what people are suggesting for you. All of the responsibility to read these is on you. So good luck, dude. Godspeed. This may peter off after week 5 when bro has got the 5-week long stack of books to read. That's going to be devastating.
Hopefully it does take 1 week. Hopefully Starship Troopers just sends me off to the races, dude.
Yeah, we'll find out. The last thing is like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends about this. We want more people to know about men's adventure fiction and how sick it is. So
that we can get more suggestions. That's always what I'm surprised with.
Oh yeah,
stuff that I don't know about, and then I get pumped.
We need to read more. All right. Well, we are out.
Yep. Take care, guys. See ya.
He told me, Uncle. Told you what? That you killed my dad. It had to be done. What? Even if I didn't. What would you do when everything you thought you knew was snatched out from under you?